This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, another crash on the dangerous Blackhead Road has one man making fresh calls for improvements. A film shot in Dunedin sees Jane Campion becoming the first woman to be nominated twice for Best Director Oscar. And studies into a deadly nervous system disorder use sheep for their research. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. A Queenstown local and another close contact have tested positive for COVID-19, the first new community cases in the region in almost 2 years. The Otago Daily Times understands the first case is a local who may have links to the Waikato. Local Mayor Jim Bolt says news of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Queenstown is a wake-up call for the community. He says it's time to double down and keep each other safe and healthy. Dunedin's Mayor Aaron Hawkins is reassuring residents that the city is also well placed to cope as COVID-19 moves into the southern region. However, he acknowledges it will be an unsettling time for many residents across the south. A man whose wife died in a fatal crash on Dunedin's Blackhead Road in 2020 says something needs to be done about the dangerous road. There was another serious crash on Blackhead Road just last week, prompting Paul Rutter to speak up with fresh calls for action.
This crash 2 years ago on Dunedin's Blackhead Road took the life of Paul Rutter's wife, Claire.
Basically what I've done so far is we've been in mourning. And that's been tough enough. We're on the Blackhead Road. It's basically a shortcut to Dunedin from the Brighton, from the south area. It's used by dozens of people regularly on a daily basis.
But an accident has brought memories flooding back.
I've heard and I've watched and I've seen other accidents on this road since. There was one recently just last week. And it's now time to get into this and take action. I'm not a roading engineer, but there's got to be something we can do about this. Again, we need to get something done urgently to stop other families experiencing what we've experienced.
The pain of his wife's death is still etched on his face. However, he says it's about time for him to stand up in the hope no one else has to suffer a similar loss.
The reason for being in front of the camera is not about my family. It's about trying to help other families and not having them go through what we've been through in the last 14 months.
He believes a combination of factors makes the road very dangerous, including hot temperatures, rain and diesel from quarry vehicles, which combine to make the road fatally treacherous. In Dunedin, the South Today.
New Zealand director Jane Campion's film The Power of the Dog has led the nominations for this year's Oscar Awards. The dark western featured heavily in pre-Oscar buzz and leads the field with 12 nominations. The film was shot in Otago and used a number of extras from the local community. Jane Campion is now the first woman to be nominated twice for Best Director. She was also a contender for her film The Piano in 1993, but lost out to the Steven Spielberg's film Schindler's List. Campion already won an award for Best Director for Power of the Dog at the Golden Globes in January, with the film claiming the Best Picture award. The winners of this year's Oscars will be revealed at a live ceremony in Hollywood at the end of March. Central Otago people with a bit of an artistic flair and an eye for interior decoration may want to enter an unusual competition. The Queenstown Arts and Cultural Hub is offering a cash incentive for people with the creativity to design and paint murals for the Hub's 2 new bathrooms.
Looking for artistic inspiration? Queenstown's new arts and cultural hub's being retrofitted across 2 sites in the Remarkables Park hub. Now work is getting underway on 2 toilet blocks, with Development Officer Olivia Egerton asking for ideas about the decor of the loos.
So we have launched a bathroom mural competition, and this is based off the fact that art museums and organisations often have really fantastic toilets, and we thought, well, why not?
The plan is to paint murals in each bathroom block in April. The 2 winning artists will receive $1,800 for their labour, with material costs and tech support provided. Egerton says refurbishing the buildings into a set of arts labs began in December and is well underway.
The Cook Brothers construction guys have been hard at work, and we now have 21 walls, all lined, and now of course turning to sort of plumbing services and electrical services and things like that.
It's hoped the colourful new toilets might even give famous loos, such as those in Kawakawa, designed by Friedenreich Hundertwasser, a run for their money. And Egerton has her own ideas on what sort of decor might work well.
I think they need a bit of colour, perhaps some crazy patterns.
Artists have until the 1st of March to apply, with winners notified later in the month, in time to start their creative work. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A rogue ram who had been targeting cyclists on the Lake Dunstan cycle and walking trail ended up being destroyed last night. For the last week, cyclists on the trail have been reporting Mexican standoff situations, with the angry sheep ramming their bikes. Trail managers took action after receiving multiple reports of the rampaging ram injuring cyclists. Last night the animal was shot, which trail managers says was in the interest of trail users' safety and a swift resolution to the problem. Posts on social media complained that the ram's aggression had been escalating over the past week. The grumpy animal had a tail and appeared not to have been shorn in some time. For sufferers of the deadly Batten disease, a disorder of the nervous system, a groundbreaking therapy may soon be on the horizon, courtesy of sheep. A research group at Lincoln University has received American FDA approval to start human testing of a new gene treatment. It's already shown positive signs in sheep, and it's hoped the treatment may help delay the effects of the lethal childhood disease.
A new gene therapy treatment is being developed at Lincoln University. Work here could offer a glimmer of hope for children suffering the deadly Batten disease, a rare and fatal inherited neurological disorder. That hope comes courtesy of decades of research into the same disease affecting sheep. Research group lead Dr. Nadia Mitchell is excited that some children will soon be able to access the gene therapy via human trials in the United States.
It's so exciting. It's just so thrilling because you meet these wonderful families that have been through horrendous things with their children, and we really do it for them. Like, we love, Sam and I love working with sheep. They're good fun to work with, and it's really nice to be able to treat the sheep and see them doing so well successfully in the field. But to actually see this into humans as a potential therapy for kids is just phenomenal. It's really great.
Children with Batten disease are completely healthy at birth, but begin to lose their vision at a young age. Their brain cells die away, meaning they quickly lose the ability to talk and walk. Most sufferers only live into their teens. Sheep also suffer from Batten disease. That makes them perfect for the experimental gene therapy, as they mirror human symptoms and their brains are much larger than other lab animals.
So in sheep we have similar thing. The sheep are healthy at birth, they'll lose their vision over time, lose their motor function, and then they will also die prematurely.
The special gene therapy involves one-off injections to the brain and eyes with a virus carrying a copy of a missing gene. Sheep with Batten disease generally live for only 2 years, but the sheep treated with the gene therapy are now living for more than 5 years. The researchers say their gene therapy can essentially halt the neurological disorder, although it's not a complete cure for sufferers. In Lincoln, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, concern from some rural voices as farmers consider avoiding COVID-19 testing. And we catch up on latest global affairs with International Affairs Specialist, Professor Robert Patman.
Age Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including interwalks.
Hi there, guess who? Do you recognise the eyes? Oh, okay, it's a haircut. Anyway, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores are carrying on as usual. Despite what's happening in the world, we have got some great stock for you. Personally, I've spent 50 years in this business and we have some excellent supplier relationships. We've got great stock, it's hand-picked, it's here, it's on time, and it's ready for the great summer.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So, as my favourite cut says, keep calm and carry on.
Spark your joy with Jazz, the next generation from Honda.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
The big one. My Mate John's massive annual sale is on now. 20 to 80% off his entire range of rock-bottom, warehouse price furniture and beds. And My Mate John.
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need. From answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Welcome back. Some Otago and Southland farmers have spoken anonymously, saying they know other farmers who've asked staff to avoid being tested if they were symptomatic for COVID-19. Federated Farmers Southland President Chris Dillon says he believes some farmers will avoid being tested as the virus spread. This comes after a Southland sheep and beef farmer vowed to never get tested for COVID-19 because of the impact testing positive would have on his farm operation. However, Agricultural Minister Damien O'Connor isn't ruling out the possibility of vaccinated staff who tested positive but don't have symptoms being able to continue working within their bubbles. Dairy New Zealand believes the vast majority of farmers are following COVID-19 guidance and preparing for Omicron. In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman warns that while compromised superpowers are struggling to deal with global threats, New Zealand needs to step up. The international affairs commentator says neither the US, China nor Russia are able to unilaterally tackle global issues such as terrorism and climate change.
Who should New Zealand fear the most? The United States, China or Russia? Welcome, Robert.
That's Mario, Bruce.
We look at the big players on the world stage, our global role models, and sometimes it can seem that the options are a little bit dismal. Is it fair to call the United States system of government a corrupted form of democracy?
Certainly some critics have said that. And I would rather, I think America is still a competitive and vibrant democracy, but, and it's a big but, I think that America's democracy, in the eyes of other democracies, at least, has degraded, particularly in the last 2 decades. There's been a long-term structural problem with America's democracy, and that is the prevalence of big money. It's very difficult, if you have modest means in the United States, to advance far in the political process. So there's a lot of big private money. Fundraising is a big preoccupation in American politics. So unless you're independently wealthy, or you're completely fixated with raising money, it's difficult to progress too far. And that's a shame, because there's a lot of talented people that are deprived of the opportunity to compete in that sort of system. And this is what, of course, politicians like Bernie Sanders have been railing against. I think the second thing is that, with respect to America, sees itself as a political exemplar for other countries. And I think that process has degraded, particularly since 9/11, the last 2 decades. I think many people look at some of the problems that America has, particularly in the areas of race relations, and also the fact that in its foreign policy it seems to be repeating the same mistakes that it's made. Take one area in counterterrorism. The United States has continued a policy of targeted killings of often very unpleasant people who are terrorists, but it doesn't seem to be working.
So that's the United States. In name, China is a communist state and Russia is a democratic one. What's the reality for those two?
I think China could be interpreted or described as a state capitalist society which is masquerading as a communist state. Since the late 70s, China has very successfully, if you like, liberalized its economy. And in that period, China has dragged about 600 million Chinese out of poverty, an extraordinary achievement. With Russia, Russia is also an authoritarian state capitalist society, but it does masquerade as a democracy. It has what might be described as simulated elections. So Mr. Putin pays lip service to democracy, but as we've seen, many of Mr. Putin's opponents or critics, whether they be in the media or in the political arena, find themselves seriously repressed, sometimes to the point of death.
So which of these three should New Zealand most fear?
I don't think New Zealand should be scared or afraid of any of these states. I think we are much closer to the United States because of our respective democracies than the other two. But, you know, all three countries face quite profound internal problems. And the other thing is, quite apart from the challenges, I mean, China has a deeply unattractive political system. Few countries in the international system are seeking to emulate what China's done. They like the prospect of trading with China, but that doesn't mean they want to, if you like, absorb the Chinese political system in the process. I think looking into the medium to long-term future in the 21st century for authoritarian regime is not particularly rosy. So I don't think in this context New Zealand should fear them. I think, you know, compared with the United States, our democracy is in reasonable health. And I think compared with the problems that China and Russia face, we also, while there's no room for complacency, I think we've got a lot that we can be proud of here.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.
And you can watch the full interview with Professor Patman online at odt.co.nz. Still to come on The South today. For the first time in 77 years, a popular Wanaka event has been cancelled, and we take a look at tomorrow's weather for you.
risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Living Well Disability Resource Centre, a not-for-profit charitable organisation and your one-stop shop for information and resources to help you retain independence. We offer a wide range of assistive products from jar openers to mobility scooters and provide assessments for Total Mobility, the half-price taxi scheme. Come and see the friendly team. You'll find us on the corner of George and Bath Streets, ground floor of Burns House.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
The big one. My mate John's massive annual sale is on now. 20 to 80% off his entire range of rock bottom warehouse price furniture and beds. You name it, John's got it in stock and ready to go. No waiting, plus you can pay it off interest free. Shop in store or online with click and collect or contact free delivery. The big one.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
Welcome back. For the first time in 77 years, there will be no Wanaka AMP show this season. The government's COVID-19 red traffic light setting has forced the cancellation of the annual show, which had been scheduled for mid-March. It will be a crushing blow for Wanaka, which had been relying on domestic visitors since borders closed 2 years ago. The two-day show is estimated to create almost $30 million in economic benefit for the surrounding area. Because of the timing of lockdowns and restrictions, the AMP show had been able to carry out in both 2020 and 2021. The opening game of Super Rugby Pacific could be in doubt, with members of the Moana Pacifica and Blues teams isolating in their Queenstown hotels. Both squads have a member of their teams identified as being close contacts of a COVID case. The opening match was due to be played between these two teams in 9 days' time. However, that schedule could be derailed if the squads have to observe a 10-day isolation period. Neither of the players are connected to the 2 community cases in Queenstown, reported earlier in the bulletin. Team management are working with public health officials to ensure they minimise any risk of infection within the Super Rugby bubble and the local community. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Dunedin widow Paul Rutter is making fresh calls for improvements to a dangerous stretch of Blackhead Road following another fatal crash. Film The Power of the Dog shot in Otago sees Jane Campion become the first woman to be nominated twice for Best Director Oscar. And scientists at Lincoln University are using sheep for their research into overcoming a deadly nervous system disorder in children. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Joe. How's it going?
Good. COVID-19 has returned to the south and there's cases confirmed in Queenstown and more to be expected undetected. A rogue ram was on the rampage on the Lake Dunstan cycle and walking trail on Wednesday, but it ended almost as quickly as it escalated, with the animal being destroyed. A large swathe of undeveloped land on Monaca's Ardmore Street could be transformed by a comprehensive mall-like town centre development. And Otago Girls High said it's working through a formal disciplinary process after girls fighting videos emerged yesterday.
Great, so there's something for everyone in tomorrow's paper, and now it's time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Looking at the situation, it'll be fine for most parts tomorrow and over the weekend, but the Otago coast will see cloud showers and cold winds developing. Starting at the top of the island in the northwest, Westport still with scattered showers and 22 degrees, which won't help those in flood conditions in this area, while Greymouth escapes the rain with cloud cover and 21. Similar in the northeast with rain and 23 degrees for Nelson, and showers expected for Blenheim with 22. And down the Canterbury coast, scattered showers continue for Kaikoura with 21 degrees, Christchurch escapes the rain with 22, and Ashburton the same with 20. Looking at the southern towns along the coast, Catlins can expect moderate southwesterlies with a risk of showers and 18 degrees. It'll be similar for Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore with moderate southwesterlies, some cloud and a high of 17 or 18. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra can all expect light winds, some high cloud and 23. Much cooler in Te Anau with moderate southwesterlies, a bit of cloud and a high of 17. Looking at the northern towns along the coast, there'll be light winds with some cloud. Timaru can expect 24 degrees, Oamaru 21. Further inland, both Taizu and Marama can expect light winds, some cloud and a pleasant high of 25. Looking at Dunedin, it's mostly fine tonight with low cloud developing, some mist or fog with an overnight low of 14 degrees. Tomorrow will be fine with cooler southwesterlies, sunny periods, then occasional cloud. Rain starts developing during the evening and winds tend southeast, a high of 20 and a low of 13. And it's overcast and cold on Saturday with periods of rain, variable winds at first, but southwesterlies start freshening during the afternoon, a high of 14 and a low of 11. And in Invercargill, some cloud tonight with an overnight low of 13. Tomorrow is mostly fine with sunny periods, moderate southwesterlies and cloud. Temperatures become cooler with a high of 16 and a low of 10. And it's cold on Saturday with mostly cloudy skies and light showers possible. A high of 14 and a low of 10. And that's the news this Thursday. For the latest news and videos from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. You can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.